Okay, so today we are going to talk about circle vocabulary. This unit is very vocabulary heavy, and we want to make sure that we know what our vocabulary is. We also are going to have quite a few formulas. I'm going to give you some formulas in here today, but we will talk about the specific formulas when we do talk about each individual topic. Do also expect a quiz on these vocabulary words, so please make sure you are studying them. Our first vocabulary word is going to be the circle. Okay, a circle is the set of points equidistant from a given point, which is called the center. If you look at the picture there, the center point is O. The way we name circles is we actually just put a point in the middle, draw a circle around it, and then we name it the letter that that center point is. So this is circle O. Okay, this would be called circle O. If I did not give you enough time to copy down any of the words, just pause the video, copy it down, and then push play and keep going so I can keep this video on the shorter end. The second word we have is the radius. A radius is going to be a segment or length from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle. Okay, and we name a radius just like we would name a segment. So we would name this radius AB with our segment symbol on top. Remember, segments do not get any arrows on top because they're closed. Then we have the diameter, which is going to be a segment with both endpoints on the edge of the circle, and it's going to pass through that center point, right? It also creates a semicircle, which is another word that we're going to talk about a little bit later. The way we name the diameter is just with its two endpoints, which you can see here are A and B. So it is segment AB. Okay. Please make sure you are taking down how to name each thing. When I do quiz you on this, it will ask you to name specific things. Then we have the chord, and this is going to be a segment that has both endpoints on the edge of the circle, and it can be a diameter. The diameter is just a special type of chord. Okay, so please be specific. A chord is going to be a segment with both endpoints on those edges. It can also be a diameter. Okay, and we will name it just like we named our diameter previously. It'll be both letters on those edges of the circle, and it is a closed segment. It's not a line. Then we have a secant, which is going to be a line, so these should have arrows on them. Okay, that hits the circle at any 2 points, and we name this like we name our segments. So this is AB, but instead of it having just the segment on top, it's going to have the line indicator, which is going to be that segment with 2 arrows going in either direction. Then we have the tangent. Okay, a tangent line is a line or segment, so this can be stopped, that hits the circle in exactly 1 point. This point that it intersects the circle with is called that point of tangency. So this one, they've labeled the line L. So one way we could name it is line L. I'm going to give this line a few other points, so we can name it a different way. We could have also named it AP and put our line segment at the top. We could have named it PB, put the line segment at the top, or we could have named it AB, put the line segment on the top. Either are perfectly acceptable. All of them would be the correct answer as long as you used one of them. A major arc, okay, is going to be a portion of the outer edge of the circle that is going to have a measure more than 180 degrees, so or greater than 180 degrees. When we name these, we're always going to name them with 3 letters. So the major arc here is pictured in blue, and we would name this arc A, A, DB, and we put the arc symbol above it, which is just a nice curved line there above it. Okay, arc A, DB. You could have also done arc B, D, A as well. The order that you go in does matter. You don't want to go through the red, so you can't do B, A, D, because then you would be going through the red. So make sure you're going in the proper order to mark the arc. The minor arc is going to be the portion of the outer edge of the circle that measures less than 180 degrees. So it's the red in the picture that we just saw. And they're always labeled with 2 letters. So the major arc has 3, the minor arc has 2. So this is going to be arc AB with our arc mark above it. The diameter or the semicircle, you can label that with 2 or 3 letters. I prefer 3 because it's telling me which side I'm going towards. So our next word is indeed the semicircle. It's an arc that measures exactly 180 degrees, and I'm going to add some extra points in here so we can be a little more specific when we're naming it. Again, I said I like to do 3 so I know which side of the arc I'm talking about. So C, E, B could be one of my, that should be a B. Labels there. I could have also done CFB. CB is also acceptable for labeling the semicircle. Okay, I just prefer 3. Cocentric circles, or concentric, sorry I said that wrong, are going to be circles that are centered around the same point. So they have the same center point, and then the circles go out from there. So we would just, again, label this circle A. Okay, circle A. You could also write out the word circle if you wanted. The circumference, is going to be the measure of the distance or length around the outside of the circle. Okay, as you can see marked here. I'm going to draw in a few things so that we can put the formula on here. Okay, so there's a radius, and this long one here is the diameter. Okay, so you have 2 formulas that you could use for the circumference formula. You could use pi times the diameter, or you could use 2 pi times the radius. Either one is your choice. I tend to use whichever one I'm given, if I'm given the diameter or if I'm given the radius. That's how I pick which one I'm going to use. Remember, the diameter is also 2 times the radius, so you can always go back to the 2 pi r if you need to. Arc length is going to be the distance or the length around the portion of the edge of the circle. So if you see here marked in red, this is the arc length. Sometimes we're looking for the arc length, and in order to find the arc length, we're going to take theta, which really just stands for the angle measure. Okay, that's all it is. We'll probably use x more than we'll use the word theta, but this picture has theta, so we're going to go with that. Theta over 360. Okay, there's 360 degrees in the circle, and we're going to multiply it. To get arc length, we're doing circumference, so we're going to multiply by that circumference formula from previously. So we could have theta over 360 times 2 pi r, or we could use theta over 360 times pi times the diameter. Either one. Again, I use whichever one is most helpful to me. Okay, and again, we will learn these formulas again when we talk about specifically the arc length. And if we were to label the arc, remember, it depends on if it's a minor or a major arc. If it's a minor arc, it will get 2 letters. If it's a major arc, it will get 3. The area of a sector, okay, this is going to be the space contained inside of a sector or a section of the circle. So it's all this here labeled in green. It's going to be very similar to our arc length formula. It's going to still be theta over 360. And this time, instead of multiplying by the circumference, we're doing area. So we're going to multiply by that area formula of pi r squared. Okay. Again, we will talk about this formula more in depth in class. The central angle is going to be the angle whose vertex is located at the center of the circle. Okay, and we name these with 3 letters, so we know the direction we're going. We could name this angle AOB, where the center letter there is always the center of the circle. You could have also done angle BOA if you would like. The central angle will always equal the intercepted arc, or the arc that's across from it as well. The inscribed angle is going to be an angle whose vertex is located on the edge of the circle. So notice that this point here is on the edge of the circle, okay? So that's what the vertex part is. We name this just like any other angle with 3 letters, angle A, B, C. Our formula for the intercepted arc is going to be, for the inscribed angle is going to be 1/2 the intercepted arc, which is that arc that's across from it. We do have a vocabulary word on it just a little bit later. So this is going to be 1/2 the intercepted arc. The interior angle is going to be an angle whose vertex is located inside the circle, but not at the center of the circle. Most of the time when we see these, we'll see almost that bow tie shape. Those vertical angles are pretty much always created. We would name the angle, again, with 3 letters. I'm going to use this angle here. So let's use angle CED. Okay, we could have labeled any of the other ones. I just chose that one. The formula for this is going to be big arc plus small arc divided by 2. Okay, big arc plus small arc divided by 2. And again, these are the angles that are located inside the circle, but not directly in the center. Then we have that exterior angle, right? Exterior means outside. So it's going to be the angle whose vertex is located outside of the circle. Okay. We name them again with 3 letters. So angle CED. Please make sure the vertex is always in the middle. The formula here is going to be big arc minus small arc divided by 2. So it's very similar to that interior, except one you're finding the sum and the other one you're finding the difference. The last vocabulary word for today is going to be the intercepted arc. Okay, and the intercepted arc is that arc that's across from the angle of a circle. So if you see here in the picture, I've shown you lots of different angles, and their intercepted arcs are marked there in red. On your pictures, I would just pick one and draw it and maybe label A, B, and mark the arc for yourself. Remember, if you picked a minor arc, it would just be 2 letters. So I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to do A, B, and the arc. The formula for the intercepted arc is not really a thing. It's going to be different depending on which angle we're looking at. So we don't actually need to put that in our notes. Please make sure you study your vocabulary, and once you finish this video, you should be working on the crossword, the word search, and the area and circumference sheet.